here we are at the all-night flea market with Athena Prychodko. Athena, it's so good to see such a lovely lady as the first person I talked to here tonight. Tell me a little bit about yourself. A writer, director, producer. How did you get into all that?
Well, it didn't start as a writer, producer, director. It actually started when I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was out there taking some schooling and stuff and decided that, movies was something that I really wanted to get into, and I actually ended up falling into some work with a few friends of mine. They are now known as Toe Tag Pictures. They've been making movies for as long as I've been making movies. So they were the ones who catapulted me into the industry, and I got to start building sets, and I learned a lot about doing makeup and building props and all that kind of stuff. I learned how to help write a script, and I went through almost every process with them. So I got to learn many facets of the industry, and because they were brand new to the industry as well, being an independent film company, we were very limited on money and stuff, so I learned how to budget my money when filming. So all of that plays into what I do now. I used to love watching them when Fred would be up there directing, and I'd be behind the scenes with my paintbrush, and I'm so happy to be there with my paintbrush, but at the same time I was kind of wishing I was the director. So as years passed, I started getting more gigs doing acting and stuff like that, because a lot of times I show up on set and somebody wouldn't show up, so then they're like, "Hey, Athena," and just kind of throw me in there, and before you knew it, I'm learning lines on the fly, and I was acting all of a sudden, which wasn't really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I always wanted to be behind the camera. So that progressed into years of getting little gigs here and there, acting and makeup and all this stuff, and I still do a lot of makeup. I still do acting here and there, but not as much as I did previous years, because lately I've been focusing on writing and directing my own. So, and after I decided, hey, I'm going to start writing and directing my own stuff, I decided I'm also going to produce my own stuff, because I didn't want anybody else to actually manipulate what I had done. I didn't want my imagery, what I saw in my head is what I wanted to see on film. So having somebody else produce my movies for me wasn't going to work at all, because nobody has the same vision that you do when it comes to making a film. So if I wanted it done my way, then I had to take on all the responsibilities for it,
Right.
So, and that includes the editing and my own promotion and all that. Now, granted, I have people like Jim and stuff that help me get out there, and, because I'm independent, like I said, there's not a whole lot of money in it, so you got to help word of mouth from friends and from people who want to, hey, like, the movies are good, you should watch these, and then they do, and then they tell somebody else, and it just starts to spread that way, and that's how any independent filmmaker really ends up making it, what I mean? So, yeah, and long story short, kind of all summarized in there, but that's over a span of 15 years I've been doing this.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. If nobody's watching your film, it doesn't matter how good it is.
That's right. So I rely heavily on word of mouth, and luckily, when I first started doing this, we didn't have Facebook and stuff. So now that Facebook is so popular, it is great for social media, it is great for networking, it is great for saying, hey, I am a filmmaker, and then the 1,000 people on your friends list goes, hey, that's cool, if they didn't already know that about you. So thanks to social media and Twitter and all this other crap now, it's making it a lot easier for us, but at the same time, the market is flooded with stuff now. So it's not like, oh, you're a filmmaker and you're a filmmaker. It's like one person who shoots a fucking YouTube video is all of a sudden a filmmaker. And it's like, no, So in that way, it's very frustrating. But in a lot of ways, social media is helping people like myself out tremendously.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, IMDB credits are not that difficult to come by anymore.
Not anymore, not at all. No, you play a dead body, you get an IMDb credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you strictly shoot the horror genre?
I have for the most part. It's funny you say that, because my newest endeavor, The Collective Volume 7, was the first film I've done that wasn't a horror movie, or that didn't have any kind of tits or blood or gore or You don't need the fun stuff that goes with a horror film, you know. This is my first one that's not over the top, you know. And because my production company, I do black and white silent films, that's right, I'm taking it back. Taking it all the way back. I love the 1920s style stuff. I love all the silent eras because, number one, you have to actually watch the movie. When there's heavy dialogue, you can look away from the TV and talk to somebody and still hear what's going on. You don't have to necessarily watch it. When I film something, you actually have to watch what's going on because I'm not spoon-feeding you the storyline. I'm not spoon-feeding you any of it. So you actually have to pay attention to what I'm trying to say and what I'm putting out there. You know, and that's what I really respect about like all the older movies, because you actually had to you became more a part of the movie when you felt like you had to engross yourself in it. Nowadays, it's all just put right there out for you, like, hey, you know, you can, it's so easy, and I'm not saying this just as a filmmaker, but you can just start, like, guessing, like, oh, well, that is going to lead into that, oh, that's going to be this, and I mean, it's just there, it's already there. They're not leaving it to your imagination anymore, and I don't think that's fun. I think movies should be about imagination, about, you know, the creativity of it, and like where filmmakers come from. Kind of going back to what I was saying before, like what we see in our head is what we want you to see. So, you know, in that case, you know, it's I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just it's important to me, you know.
No, that's fine. The collective is your current project, or?
Yes, I'm sorry, that's what I was getting back to. I've been on several collectives, now all the odd ones, 1, 3, 5, and now 7. And this one, instead of doing all the gore, I decided to do more of a darker comedy.
Okay.
So it's kind of a mix of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. And
a little Bela Lugosi tossed in?
Not even.
Oh, okay.
No, not really. I didn't really add much horror to it at all. The only thing horrific about it is how much this guy keeps fucking up. Like he does it to himself every time. So that's, without giving away too much, my new movie is called Open Me. And it's only 15 minutes. It's a short, but it's a lot of fun. You'll laugh. There's fart jokes. Yeah. So.
And it's silent?
And it's a silent movie, but
deadly?
But deadly, because I love sound effects. So even though the movie's silent, there's no speaking, doesn't mean I'm not going to throw in all kinds of fun sounds and stuff, you know, to tantalize your brain a little bit. So, and I love old westerns, so I do saloon music over the 1920s style filming, and then I use modern looking people. So it's a blend of like Western, it's a blend of the 20s, it's a blend of the new modern look that all of us have, you know, with the tattoos and everything, but it's all very old school. Like even down to like the little hairlines in it and the, you know, the scratchy parts and things like that, you know, too dark of images where things get lost in shadows. To me, that's art. So this time around, there's a little bit of all of that incorporated into this, but it's just much funnier. It'll just make you laugh more than my other ones will.
Sounds like fun. Where can a person get a hold of a copy?
Well, I do a lot of conventions, and I like doing the conventions rather than selling them online because I get to actually talk to the people who are buying my movies. I get to, you know, actually talk to them about what they like about independent film and why they're buying my movie, what they're interested in getting out of it, and that kind of stuff, because it gives me feedback. I learn a lot from the people that buy my movies, and then I always give them a business card and say, I honestly want to know what you think, good or bad or whatever, because as a director, I can only grow from here. I can only learn from things that I've done, learn from people who might have, you know, not necessarily criticisms, but ideas that I can, you know, fruition into something else. So I'd rather sell them at my conventions and things like that. Now you can get them online, not personally through me. You can get them through other directives, like other people that carry my stuff.
Okay.
You can get them from them, and then I still get some of the royalties from that. But like I said, I just much rather hand it over to them, and then one of my favorite things is them handing it back to me and go, can you sign that for me? Like, there's just something special about that. So they're going to go home excited to see something that, you know, Hollywood didn't put on the billboard and say, hey, you got to go see this, you know. And no, this is, hey, check out my movie. If you like it, check out one of my other movies. And, you know, like I said before, then it just spreads that way.
Very cool.
Yeah. Plus, people are interesting.
Absolutely. Speaking of interesting, I like to close my interviews with offering the interviewee the opportunity to say something weird and wonderful about yourself before that your fans might not know about.
That my fans might not know about me.
Yeah.
I love Elvis Presley.
Ew.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of metal, and that's how all my friends know me is as the metalhead. So most of them don't know my secret passion for Elvis.
Have you been to Graceland?
I have been to Graceland.
How many times?
Twice.
Twice.
Yes.
You are an Elvis fan.
I am an Elvis fan. Yes.
Awesome.
And I'm a nerd about it. I have quite the collection at home. Yeah. They usually surprise my friends when they come over because they see all my Morbid Angel posters and all my bloody pictures hanging on the wall, and then you go into my office and here's all this Elvis stuff. And yeah, it's my own little shrine and stuff. But it surprises a lot of people. They don't expect it.
Very cool. So do you have a Facebook, a website?
I do. My website is AthenaPrychodko.com, and my website is Athena Prychodko. You can find me there. It's Prychodko. Normally, if you type in Athena P, the first one that pops up.
Really? Cool.
Yes. But yeah, and you can get all the information about all my films, all the projects I'm working on. I teach a makeup class. I also work at a costume shop, so I do a lot of stuff with costuming and stuff as well. So, and I'm a bartender. So
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you if you ever need a party, and I work for the Blue Moon Circus down in Louisville, Kentucky too.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, hands in everything down there. And if you ever come to Louisville, just look me up and I can take you around to some really awesome places.
Very
There's
cool.
a party bus.
Well, thank you so much, Athena. And from the All-Nighter, this has been The Weird Review.
Thank you.
Thank you.